never really knew how bad it got for Demi Lovato until now.
I couldn't go without probably like 30 minutes to an hour without cocaine, and I'd bring it on airplanes.
How?
I'm Billy Bush. Demi opens up like never before in our exclusive interview. Then Oprah invites us over to witness a little transformation. Plus,
Is your brother gonna sue Lindsay Lohan?
never, ever let a few bothersome questions interfere with a great pose. Cocaine on airplanes, vodka at 9 a.m., the eating disorder at 8 years old. Demi Lovato's dark days come into the light. Welcome to Access Hollywood. Kit, you spent yesterday afternoon with Demi and her mom.
I did, Billy. Demi Lovato has turned her life around, but for the first time, she reveals the struggle she went through and how she finally beat all of her addictions.
I'm very, very good at manipulating people. And that was something that I did in my disease. I manipulated everyone around me.
So how? Like, what would you do?
Well, there's a lot of things with, specifically, like, something that I've never talked about before, but with my drug use, I could hide it to where I would sneak drugs. I couldn't go without probably like 30 minutes to an hour without cocaine, and I'd bring it on airplanes.
How?
I would just, I don't know, I would smuggle it basically, and just wait till everyone in first class went to sleep, and I would just do it right there. Or I'd sneak to the bathroom and I'd do it. So that's how difficult it got, and that was even with somebody who, I had a sober companion, somebody that was watching me 24/7 and living with me. I was able to hide it from them as well.
Revealing the depths of her deception and drug abuse for the first time to me, Demi, who held tight to her mother Diana's hand throughout our interview, was candid and totally honest when talking about the dark phase of her life, the details of which are hinted at in her book of affirmations, Staying Strong 365 Days a Year. For you, what was the lowest point?
My last drink was probably my lowest point. I've had tons of low points, but I was going to the airport and I had a Sprite bottle just filled with vodka, and it was 9 in the morning, and I was like throwing up in the car, and this was just to get on a plane and go back to LA to the sober living house that I was staying at. And you know, I had all the help in the world, but I didn't want it. And when I hit that moment, I was like, it's no longer fun when you're doing it alone. I've really never talked about this stuff before, so it's like kind of, I don't know if I should be sharing this, but I think at 19 years old, I had a moment where I was like, oh my God, like, that's alcoholic behavior. You know, that's no longer, I'm young and I'm rebellious and I'm out having fun. It was like, wow, I'm one of those people. Like, at 19, I gotta get my together.
Mom, did you see any of this happening? Could you stop it at all? Did you have any say?
And you can be honest.
Okay.
Be honest. I just talked about smuggling coke on a plane. You can be honest.
Honestly, there were things that she did that I did try to fight. I did try to say no.
I think a lot of it was me not coming home and her getting text messages the next day like, you didn't come home last night, where are you? I'm worried about you. And, or her finding me drunk or whatever.
Did you know she was using drugs?
Did I know exactly? No. I suspected.
My mom and I share something in common, which I don't know if, oh, it's okay.
Well, what they share in common is stunning. We're going to have the entire story later in the show. Demi's new book, Staying Strong 365 Days a Year, is out right now.
I knew she had problems, but not to that degree. Boy, she was honest there, Kit. Nice story. All right, now to Sean, who has the latest on Barron Hilton and the drama surrounding Lindsay Lohan. Her interview with Demi and Demi's mom.
All right, Billy, Demi reflects on her turbulent past in her new book, and one of the things she reveals was her severe eating disorder. You're so open, Demi, which is just so remarkable and so refreshing. When you talk in the book about your eating disorder, when did that start?
My eating disorder is something that I feel like it was just, I remember it just constantly. It was never something that just kind of developed. It was always there, but then I acted on it at around like 8 or 9 years old. I started overeating compulsively. I'd bake cookies and then I'd eat the whole pan. I went from doing that to once, I was unhappy with my body. I went to just completely starving myself, and that turned into throwing up and starving myself, and it was just this like crazy battle that was going on inside of me, and it got really difficult. I would throw up and it would just be blood, and it was something that I realized if I don't stop this, I am gonna die.
Is there a trigger for you with food?
I can't eat pasta, hamburgers or something that I don't eat. I'll eat it without the buns, but it's just, there are scary foods for me that I stay away from, and is it something that's going to make me feel guilty afterwards?
With Demi's rehab treatment in October of 2010 being a moment of life or death, once she successfully completed the program, Demi left the facility with a moment of clarity when it came to her own childhood, specifically the example set forth at home by her mother, Diana.
Mom and I share something in common, which I don't know if, oh, it's okay. She's also in recovery, and so after I went to treatment,
I had a terrible eating disorder for many, many years, and I didn't realize it. I had to face up to the fact that I was suffering as well. And a lot of what she went through with an eating disorder had to do with what she had seen growing up. I also had severe depression, and I ended up asking for help. Actually, they did an intervention with me and said, "Mom, you need to get help."
How old were you then, Demi?
18. It was a couple months after I got out of rehab. I realized that I think being around that environment, and I'm not putting any blame on anybody, because when you're sick, like, you're sick and you can't help it. I think growing up around that was something that kind of...
It contributed.
It contributed. And with me getting out of treatment and trying to be in recovery and seeing her still active in her issues, I couldn't be around her. And
You saw all the signs. Did a light bulb go off where you realized where you had seen or learned it from and wanted to help your mom?
yeah, and I don't know if my grandma was okay with this, but my grandma had an eating disorder as well, so it's like generation after generation.
I definitely believe it's generational. The issue that I had was definitely a mental health issue, and I also had to get help for my struggles as well as she did. And then once I did, we became closer, as mother and daughter, but we also, became well as a family.
I'm so proud of her. It makes me so happy, and that's why, like, we've held hands this whole interview.
This whole time, yes.
Because I love her so much.
Tomorrow on Access Hollywood, more from my exclusive with Demi Lovato and her mother.
That's when the big turnaround happened. It happened that night.
Intimate revelations about the intervention that led to rehab, being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and the moment that turned her life around.
The reason why I'm alive today is because...
Plus the inner circle of true friends who were always there for her. Tomorrow on Access Hollywood.